Hello everyone, welcome to Movie Review UK. My name is MJ and today I'm going to be looking at a few of the cases studied by the Warrens that I think have potential to be the subject of The Conjuring 3 or beyond. Having a look at Wikipedia, there's a few prominent cases that the Warrens have investigated, so I've isolated 4 of them and I'm going to talk about them now and the reasons why I think they'd be a good idea for a film. So the first one is something that has actually already been the subject of a movie. It's called the Snedeka House and it's a former funeral home, and it was the subject of The Haunting in Connecticut. Now apparently The Haunting in Connecticut was only very loosely based on the Snedeka House being an ex-funeral home, and the thing that makes this one interesting is that when the Warrens came to investigate it, they said that it was infested with demons. Now that particular phrase to me sounds quite terrifying, and it sounds like it would be a very intense Conjuring movie. The fact that you could have multiple extremely evil threats, I think, could be massive and really nerve-shredding. Also, the fact that it's a former funeral home, very creepy. They could somewhat adapt the plot. They could make it a current funeral home, so you could have, you know, a dead body in there or whatever, things like that. You can have it in operation, and yeah, I think that could be a very, very intense Conjuring movie. The next one is one that I don't have much information on. It's a demon werewolf. They wrote a book about this subject, but they claim that they exorcised someone of a demon werewolf. So I think that could be somewhat interesting. It could be a very grisly and more gory take on The Conjuring. Less away from the scares and demonic possession, although it would still be centered around that. But it would be a very different creature. I think that a demon werewolf would be more of a animalistic, raging and brutish character, and thus film. As I say, it could focus on the gore, it could focus on the ferocity, is that things? And less away from like jump scares and whatnot. Not that jump scares are bad, and I'm sure it could still have them, but I think there would be more of an emphasis on, yeah, just clawing things to buggery. Next up is the Smurl family investigation. These are a Pennsylvania couple who, when the Warrens came to investigate, they said that there were 3 minor spirits and 1 demon haunting their house. I think the interesting thing about this one is that it could go to some quite dark places, because they claim that, or the people affected by it or whatever, claim that the demons sexually assaulted them. So there is obviously a hugely dark area that they could go into there. It'd be incredibly bold and brave filmmaking, so I don't think it would actually happen, to be honest. But that kind of thing is terrifying in ways that I don't think have been explored on film yet, other than in Scary Movie 2. That scene where she's molested by a ghost and done doggy style on the ceiling. Fine. But this could take it to a very serious and very dark and twisted area. And, you know, the fact that it's haunted by 3 minor spirits, you could have, you know, some more playing into good spirit elements, which they have lightly touched upon in the first 2. The last one I think would be the most difficult. It's called the Union Cemetery. It's regarded as one of the most highly haunted cemeteries in the United States. And I think that the thing that would make this an interesting Conjuring movie is they've moved in The Conjuring from quite a large house in America to a very small confined house in Britain. To remove the house completely, I think would bring massive challenges in order to make the film actually scary and not having to rely on jump scares. They would have to put a lot of effort into character design, i.e. demon design, but there's also a lot of unique things they could do with an outdoor setting, not to mention a cemetery setting. What you lose in taking away a house, you take away the personal feel, you take away some of the actual fear from the characters. I'm sure they'd have to replace it in different ways. For example, the cemetery caretaker could be being followed, things like that. They could follow him or her home. All those kind of things. I think there's a lot that could be done with it. But as I say, yeah, I think it would be a very unique and different take on a movie to actually focus on that. And I'd be really interested to see Whether he's involved directly or not, what James Wan could do with that. He's such an imaginative filmmaker, not to mention a horror filmmaker, that I can't help but think his designs and ideas for a outside cemetery based horror film could be really, really exciting. So that's my picks for what could be focused on in some Conjuring sequels. Please check out the review that I did for The Conjuring 2 and subscribe to this channel for more videos.